This Suns season has caught a serious case of senioritis, but in the best way possible. You know what? Why not? Psychos and sickos unite for another edition of the PHNX Suns post-game show brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary. Over at Bet365, I'm Eric, that's Steven, Noah behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen as your Phoenix Suns finally got a dominant win at home, 117-98. But Steven, well, you know, they just kind of got eliminated last game, and so well, too late. But hey, we got some positives to break down from this one.
You know, it's funny, we talked about it pregame. What if they just came out and were game busters? And that's quite literally what they were in this game. It's tough, but I'm appreciative of the Ryan Dunn moments that were on display from tonight's game.
Oh, we're going to be getting into Ryan Dunn. I want to start off with some super chats from Matthew because I missed a super chat from him last show. That is my apologies. If I ever miss your super chat, just tag me relentlessly until I see it. Matthew with the $2 super chat says, I am a sicko. Go
Facts.
Suns and Dunn #1. Hashtag fire Bud. He also follows up with a regular chat that I'm counting as a super chat. Says, blame the Suns' bad season on me. Ever since I got the license plate PHX Suns for my Idaho license, it went straight downhill. Hashtag all my fault.
I'll blame Matthew, but not because of that, because he didn't put the N in PHX.
Would it fit PHNX Suns?
Make it fit.
You know what? You get the sunglasses on. I'm liking the energy. I'm liking the energy from you today. Like you're very matter of fact. You know, this game, Steven, going into it, it was hard to say we're going to take away anything from this game, but at least we have Ryan Dunn for this season. That's like the one good thing that you can walk away from this season feeling comfortable with is the fact that you have Ryan Dunn, and tonight, career high from him in 26 points, a double-double, 26 and 11, plus 34 on the night. You just love to see it from somebody who is going to be an integral part in taking this team and trying to get them back to mediocre next year.
Yeah, he showed up very business-like approach, regardless of what the stakes or lack thereof, where he took it as an opportunity and he seized it to the tune of the points that you mentioned that were career high, to the tune of knocking down 4 threes, to the tune of grabbing numerous rebounds. Was it 11 that he ended tonight's game with? So a double-double, getting the job done. These are the things that I don't feel, it doesn't feel like this was an anomaly type of game, because it feels like at any given game, because of the ways he's defended and conceded open threes, because of how teams put the worst defender on the court on him on the perimeter, which then lends itself to him getting those offensive rebounds, to which he had 5 in the first half. Like, these things are very much repeatable for him. Is he going to do it on a nightly basis? No, but it's never out of the realm of possibility for him to have this type of impact because of the way that the game kind of lends itself to him.
Well, let's just make it official. Why don't we? Let's name our big, bright, shining star, our second to last big, bright, shining star, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
I am a big, bright, shining star.
The official stat line, Steven, was 26 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, plus 34 on the night, 10 of 21 from the field, 4 of 11 from deep. One of the things that Ryan Dunn said in his pregame shoot-around that he feels like he has been improving on this season is his ability to shoot, his mindset when it comes to shooting. Realistically, next season, how do you see him getting better in that department after an above-average rookie year from what we expected?
This is very simple for me from three. Stay the course. He started off this game 0 for 3, 3 bad misses. But did he hesitate to get to that fourth opportunity when it presented itself? Not even a little bit. And that goes back to what I was speaking to start the season. It's not about if he's making them. I'm really paying attention to after 1 or 2 or 3 or sometimes even 4 misses, when that next opportunity presents itself, what's going to be his response? Mentally, is he locked in to get to his makes through his misses? Or is he going to be thinking about the shot that he missed prior to that one, which naturally is going to make you miss the shot that presents itself next? He's very much a person that's process-oriented with it. He's confident in the work that he's put in, and it's showing with these opportunities that present themselves in the game.
And that's why you think back to Mike Budenholzer benching him a couple months ago, and we were doing our blame tier on yesterday's show, and benching the rookies was in the all your fault, aka the top tier. Yep. And I'm not saying that Ryan Dunn would have been a way better shooter if he never got benched, but I think it's extremely impressive that he had the mental fortitude to take that and to internalize it and then to get back on the court, and it didn't seem to affect his play. Now, he was a little bit hesitant at first when he came back, wasn't getting a lot of minutes, only getting like that one defensive possession at the end of the half or the end of the game, which just absolutely crazy considering what you saw him do tonight in 34 minutes, but he was never afraid. And that gets me really excited about an entire offseason and an NBA offseason program with NBA resources, and also knowing that going into this next season, you're most likely going to be starting. You're going to play a very big role on this team. And when you come off of getting drafted, you know, a couple months from now, you don't know what team you're playing for. You don't know what your role is going to be until you're actually there playing with the team. So I expect a big jump from Ryan Dunn in year 2. And I know those are high expectations, but Steven, I don't think that he has any reason not to have those expectations on him next season.
No, because he's resilient. And I think that's the thing that persists through the season more than anything for me. Resilient, the makes through the misses, getting to those. Resilient with the multiple role changes. Resilient with not playing for multiple weeks in a row without explanation in any capacity. Resilient in getting even the slightest bit of opportunity against the Houston Rockets and absolutely running away with it to the point where Mike Budenholzer literally had no choice but to keep you in that starting role and increase your minutes incrementally as the season got closer to the finish line. So this is a dude that just understands his job, and as his role expands and his skill development continues to evolve as well, I'm very curious as to what the ceiling for him is going to be. I don't think he's going to be an all-star caliber player per se. I don't think it's out the realm for him to become an all-defensive team, perennial type of contender for that. But I'm curious what his offensive ceiling is. Is he a player that can get you 14, 15 points a game in a role player's fashion where he's playing off of the attention that one superstar or potentially 2 other superstars gets, where he can get points in the system and also get points in transition? If he can get to that point and consistently find that 37, 38% sweet spot on like 6 attempts from deep, that's a player that's very formidable and that can be a piece to a contending team.
Don't get me wrong. I think the 3 is extremely important when it comes to Ryan Dunn's
I was going to
development.
ask you, what do you think is his most important quality outside of guarding the ball?
So I think the 3 is the most important as far as for him to carve out a career in this league, right? In order to be somebody who's going to play 5, 10 years, he needs to have a consistent 3-point shot. In order to kind of elevate above this ceiling that we have for him, and him to maybe get close to an all-star level or just be a better player, I do think it's inside the 3-point line that he has to develop a little bit more. We saw, again, right before he got benched, him working on his short roll game, floating, going towards the rim and elevating on that. And he's extremely athletic. And so I want him to be able to manipulate the game where he's not just a spot-up 3-point shooter and a dunker. I want him to have a little bit of an in-between game that you can go to as well. But the foundation has to be a solid 3-point shot. And he doesn't have a great one, but I think he has the foundation for one that's going to be serviceable and to keep him around the league. I was going to ask you, though, we mentioned the 3 that he needs to work on. I think the rebounding is something that gets completely underrated. He had 11 tonight. On-ball defense is awesome. What's a part of Ryan Dunn's game that you feel like is underappreciated, or maybe one that you feel like he needs to work on this summer?
I think what's underappreciated is his ability to finish below the free throw line. And usually it's via a floater, the most efficient of those shots. I haven't checked since probably mid-March, but at that point, he was like one of 25 players that was like 60% or higher on his floater attempts. Now, that number's probably dropped some, but the players that he was in the same room with, obviously the context that he's taking those shots in is different, but players like Nikola Jokic, players like Trae Young, players like Jalen Brunson that are known for these soft touch shots that they take, obviously in different contexts than he does, but just being good at that under the free throw line, soft touch shot. Oso was in that group as well at that point last time I checked too, but a room for improvement spot that I'm really looking forward to for his game. He loves the drive. If he can pair the three-point efficiency to where defenses have to close out a little bit closer to the three-point line and his drives can be that more impactful, it's the footwork around the basket. So not just getting into the floaters. Can he get into Euro steps? Can he get into deceleration that we see with Andrew Nembhard and Brandon Pajemski and players like that, to where he's just getting all types of misdirection, playing off of pump fakes, spin moves. Like, imagine if he's able to add another layer to his drives where they're not just a straight line, point A to point B.
Just one thing, right? Like one go-to move.
That's it. If he can add that while also still continuing to polish that floater below the free throw line, he already has the athleticism to where he can jump off too and dunk on most players in the league, which we saw 2 weeks ago against Giannis. If he can add that one layer, like a counterpunch with his drives, that's really going to be something that I think takes him to another level. And I'll say real quick for the Mikal Bridges comparisons, I've never liked them for him because of dynamics like that. Mikal came into the league, albeit because of the college program he came from, Villanova, that works on footwork and emphasizes that. Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo has it. Obviously, Mikal Bridges has it. All these Villanova guys have it that came into the league. Colin Gillespie has it.
I'm about to say Colin Gillespie, yeah.
So that's something that's a separator, but that's one of the key kind of skill development pieces that trainers work on now for guards and wings. How well can you stop and how well can you play off of footwork without a dribble? Because those are the scenarios you get in around the basket, and the players that excel at those are the ones that tend to be almost all-star level players, if not perennial all-stars.
And that's going to help him on the defensive end, because when you understand the footwork on your own right, when you see somebody else go to it and do it, okay, you're going to know what's going to happen. So in those two categories for me, something I think he needs to work on. It's something I think it's underrated. I'll start with what I think he needs to work on. Something surprisingly he was great at tonight, the personal fouls. 0 of those tonight against the Spurs. But we've seen in these big games when he takes on a big matchup, whether it's a Luka or a Harden or a Tatum, and I get it. Those are tough matchups that they get to the free throw line.
Yep.
But it's almost immediately they know they can go at him and pick up a foul. And if you're going to be the stalwart perimeter defender that the team builds their identity around, you need to make sure that you're on the court as much as possible. Now, I'm not worried to the point where I'm like, oh, he needs to change how he plays defense. But I think being a little smarter with his hands, anticipating some of the better guards in the league and their dribble packages and what they're going to try and bait you into is something that's going to come with time. But definitely he needs to work on it. I think a very underrated part of his game that we don't talk about a lot, and I don't think it's a lot of love locally and certainly not nationally because he's not talked about nationally, is his passing, especially his short roll passing, or when he does drive to the rim with a full head of steam, he does have the wherewithal to look up and drop a little shovel pass, right? Especially he's hit Oso on the inside a couple of times. He loves dumping it off to the big man, and he makes the right decision in those quick, small pocket scenarios. So I think him becoming more decisive with that, deciding when he needs to pass and when he needs to shoot a three, when he's kind of left 50% open and it's an in-between time, he sometimes hesitates and it feels like he mucks up the offense a little bit. But overall, his ball movement, his passing is something I think is underrated. I'm really excited about this guy. And I know that, we look back at the beginning of the season and all the jokes about me and the left hand and him shooting really well from three. But when you look back at it, Stephen, to get this guy at the late end of the first round and to think about it in game 81 of 82, he really has come a long way. And there's a lot more expected of him than what we really thought was going to be.
Yeah, for sure. He's ahead of where we thought he might be at the end of the season. And he's honestly been ahead at multiple points this season since he became a starter. He really never ducked back below what his expectation level was. And I think that, again, just speaks to his resilience. That speaks to his attention to detail. And that speaks to the work that he's put in behind closed doors at practice. When the cameras are off, the players that he's training with, the players that he's training against on a daily basis, it's fight or flight. And he's definitely been fighting and also continuing to ascend within that as well. And I think he's garnered the respect of the coaches as well as his peers on the team by way of the work that he's put in.
I agree. We had a super chat in the pregame show that we missed from Maria. So sorry, Maria. A $4.99 super chat who said, again, in our pregame show, I do need a win tonight. Show some pride to close out the season on your home court. At least. Fans in the arena deserve the effort and a good game worth watching. Well, I think a lot of those boxes were checked beyond Ryan Dunn. So let's talk about all that, look inside the box, and talk with our beautiful chat even more right after our first break. It's so easy to tell you about Sanderson Ford, especially now because they have big news from David Kimmerly, president of America's most awarded Ford dealership, of course, Sanderson Ford. They just announced From America for America employee pricing. You pay what he pays on the full lineup of new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and no added markups. Employee pricing levels the playing field for Ford dealers as everyone gets the same set price. However, other dealers will add addendums and add-ons, and Sanderson Ford straight up will not do that. Choose Sanderson because they have an inventory and a 70-year reputation of treating you right. Ford is undeniably the most America-first automaker in the world. 80% of vehicles Ford sells are assembled in factories located in America, and they will be less affected by the tariffs. Now is the best time to buy a new Ford with From America for America employee pricing. Excludes 2025 Expedition, 2025 Super Duty, Raptors, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles. Also, need to write down this number right now if you're looking to buy your home, sell your home, or get involved in any sort of local real estate. That's 480-776-5231. It's the number to the Carol Royse team. 480-776-5231. Of course, you might think to yourself, well, Eric, I'm not in a position to buy a home. I'm too young. I don't have enough money. Well, Carol still wants to sit down and talk to you. I know I feel you. And I got to set up a meeting with Carol because she wants to let us know, hey, maybe you do qualify for the first-time home buyer's loan here in Arizona. Or, hey, here's a plan for you to get this amount of money that you need to have as a goal in order to put a down payment on a house. And she'll sit down with you and she'll talk with you, and she's not trying to make a quick buck because Carol, and you'll find this out very quickly talking with her and her team, she cares. If you're ready to find your dream home, take the next step. Call Carol Royse at 480-776-5231 or visit Carol online at carolroyseteam.com and tell them PHNX sent you. That's carolroyseteam.com. Terms and conditions apply. Hello, Russell, Boom, Noah, Kev, Bees, Corey, and everybody hanging out with us in the chat. Thank you all so much for continuing to tune in with us after Ryan Dunn scores his career high. The Phoenix Suns got a win that was the equivalent of Chris Paul hitting a huge three to cut the lead down to 42 because they were already eliminated from the playoffs. But, Steven, there were a couple more good things tonight. Beyond Ryan Dunn, where would you start in breaking down this game?
I would start with just the energy that they brought to this one. Not a specific player, but just generally they kind of had a different feel to them. It's very unfortunate that I'm saying this now, considering the games don't matter. They're not working towards anything for the rest of this season, at least. But tons of movement to start the game. Handoffs with the pin down on the other side of the court. One for Bradley Beal, the other one for Devin Booker coming off of a pin down on the other side. Devin Booker and Bradley Beal coming off of DHOs and the ball screens. And my question continues to be, where was all of this all the season?
Who knows, man?
There's nothing nuanced about that. 90% of the NBA runs these sets and actions. This is not foreign in any capacity. But why has it taken until now for you all to start putting those two players in movement? And you see the results of the shots that we see early in the game. Bradley Beal knocks down one of those baseline kind of Steve Nash dribbles across the baseline and then turns it into a pull-up, hits his first shot of the game. And Devin Booker gets an efficient start to the game as well in terms of scoring. And a lot of that is stemming from those two getting the ball in movement. Did not see nearly as much stagnant pick and roll where the defense is just loaded up and watching them try to get to work. They had them in movement. A lot of good shot quality came from that. And we saw the results that they got on offense stemming from a lot of that early on, setting the tone.
I mean, part of it is the fact that they played the Spurs. I also think that there's I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory, but it certainly feels like there's an agenda for this season to just become the most painful season of all time. I picked Suns by 20, by the way, in pregame. And I picked Bradley Beal to score 30. Obviously, that didn't happen, but he did have
It was
a
only
good
9
game.
points short.
Yeah, only 9 points short. I mean, much better than his most recent
Correct.
performances that we've seen from him. But it's just so funny to me because you sit back and you ask yourself, where was this? Where was, it was always there. It was always there. At their peak and at their best moments, this team was good. And that's why it's so frustrating that they actually suck. And so when you look at this game, you're like, oh, well, how could they do it? Well, Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes are benched for the second half. RIP your bet.
Man, listen.
Nothing really mattered. And that's why they were able to do it. Let's take a look at a super chat from Mike from Mesa. Thank you so much, Mike. $4.99 says, I hope Bud gets fired at halftime in Sunday and Suns make him fly his own ass home. Crowd chanting for Bull and he plays almost everybody but him. I feel like we should have gotten some Bull on fan appreciation night, if anything.
He definitely should have played tonight.
Yeah. He should play, not tomorrow, but Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Maybe he should play tomorrow, too.
Yeah. I
Secret
think he
83rd
should.
game?
He should play tomorrow, yes.
When it comes to fan appreciation night, there was something that was pretty funny. So I want to show everybody, we reimagined Bradley Beal's bobblehead and what it was supposed to look like for fan appreciation night. So this is what PHNX Suns redesigned. For those of you beautiful audio listeners, it's Bradley Beal sitting on a pile of money with money stacks in his hand, right? Now, Steven, have you been to a sporting event where they have a giveaway?
I have.
Do they usually give you the giveaway when you walk in?
Yes.
Have you ever,
No.
in your entire life,
Nope.
gone to a sporting event that advertised a giveaway and they did this? Where they gave you a card to redeem at the end of the game, and then you get your fan appreciation Bradley Beal bobblehead.
Mm-hmm.
This is clearly just so that they don't throw him on the court, right?
A+ on promotion, being ahead of the curve, being proactive, with not allowing for the disaster that would have taken place to take place. Great job crossing your T's, dotting your I's, checking your boxes on their end, because that was a disaster waiting to happen. And I'm glad whether it was just one person or it was a collective decision, I'm glad someone had the wherewithal to see that before it actually took place and was able to be preventative with that.
Can you imagine the person who scheduled the fan appreciation night and put all of this together at the beginning of the season? It's you know what? It's the last home game. We'll definitely be in the playoffs at that point. Maybe we'll have clinched up a spot. Bradley Beal will be loved. Everybody will be happy. Fan appreciation night. Let's do a Bradley Beal bobblehead against the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how that person feels right now. It's like the Oppenheimer meme. The guy is just staring ahead oh my God, what did I do? And Groundhog Mama said they made sure you had to stay the entire game too. Luckily they won. Well, to be fair, there was actually a lot of fans there, and I think that's a good testament to the fans here in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. It is, especially considering there was a Diamondbacks game, and they could have been doing any other thing. So the fact that these fans did show up, even for a game that did not technically matter in terms of playoff implications, after a season that underwhelmed preceding tonight, that should tell the front office that you have some loyal fans here. That loyalty is going to run out at some point if you don't give them reasons to remain loyal.
Mm-hmm.
But you do still have something that you can be working towards and that you should be taking pride in having.
Yeah, Optical Illusion says the fans were great tonight. I agree with that. It was a shock to see that Bradley Beal and Devin Booker were not only playing, but playing a relatively normal allocation of minutes. Book played 28, Bradley Beal played 28, a little bit lower than their usual for them. But do we think that they play on Sunday, or was this just you know what, the fans have been through it, let's give them a little reward, let's have you guys play at home on fan appreciation night, and let's pack it in for 82 of 82?
That's a tough question for me because, like I mentioned in our last 3 p.m. show, players have stipulations in their contracts where numbers have to be met and things of that nature. In addition to, like I mentioned with Devin Booker, his love for the game, I imagine they probably play something close to the 20 minutes, 24 minutes, 28 minutes that they did tonight. maybe even less than that, honestly. But at least checking off the box for having them play. Maybe it's just a half like we saw with CP3 and Harrison Barnes tonight. Maybe it's something close to that, but I think they play in some capacity on Sunday. But for you bettors out there, don't be me.
Take the under.
Don't be me. Take the under or just leave it alone altogether.
You know what? Let's take a look at the bets. Let's take a look at the bets. We're rounding home here, rounding third, heading to home for our Bet365 bets. I am still in the lead at 269. Nice. You were so close. If Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes actually played the second half, minus 335 for you. Espo
locked in, man.
Espo dangerously close to hitting his bet. However, still at a negative 418. Now, I don't know if you know how things go on the final game, but you're allowed to wager as much money as you have. However, since you guys are in the negative, you and Espo can only wager 10. I could technically wager all 269 of my dollars.
That's cute.
But I'm probably not going to.
Smart.
But maybe I will. Because guess what? I'm just crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what's going to happen. But we will get there when we get there. Back to tonight. Let's take a look inside the box presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes.
What's in the box?
A dub. And that's very refreshing to say considering everything that's happened the last 2 weeks. But here we are with the Suns absolutely dominating the three-point margin in terms of makes and attempts and efficiency with that. In addition to that, the assist numbers, high, 27 is solid. You'd rather see them closer to 30, 31, but that 27 is decent. And then the block shots lending itself to telling a story about the defensive activity from this team. They brought it. Again, you wish it came a week or two or a month or two or 4 sooner than now, but it's good to see it, and they got the dub. And it's no surprise that when they play a married style of basketball where the offense and defense are playing off of one another, you see them finishing on the right side of the win-loss column.
What do you think is the biggest positive the Suns can take away from this game? Or how important is that big positive?
Biggest positive is that Ryan Dunn is a player. He is not a player without flaw in any capacity, but he is a player that fits into the deemed ecosystem that you want to surround Devin Booker and potentially Kevin Durant as well with. Players that get it done defensively with multiple efforts galore. They get after it on the glass. Players that can knock down a three, but that's not their end-all, be-all. They can find other ways to have an impact on the game, offensively in particular. A player like Ryan Dunn getting after it on the glass, and just his size. Like, you're not going to have 6'7", 6'8" guys across the roster. You would love to if you could. But just to have players of his dynamic, of that type of archetype, that you can sprinkle around your rotation. If you can find players like that, match it with IQ, get a couple more veteran-type pieces in the room, now you're cooking with something.
Yeah, I also really like what you continue to see from Colin Gillespie, who says that he's letting his agent handle his contract talks. He's still not on a full NBA deal, still not technically guaranteed to be with the Suns next year, but said that he loves it here. Grayson Allen had some nice shots tonight. Not that it really means a lot, but 3-6 from deep. 5 and 9 from the field. We will have some sound on Bradley Beal about how he approaches a summer full of trade talk, about if he would want the Suns to run it back with this group, and we will play that for you. Plus, take a look at the Western Conference standings without the Phoenix Suns right after our second break. Like I was mentioning, Bet365, our in-season competition is almost over, but just because the NBA season is ending doesn't mean you can't go over to the Bet365 app, along with 90 million of your closest friends, the other users across the world. They will, of course, have a ton of MLB bets that you could be taking throughout that entire season. The draft is coming up in the NFL. And then before you know it, NFL season is back, the NBA is back, and Bet365 back into full swing. So might as well get ahead of it right now, and new customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use code PHNX365, deposit 10, place a bet for $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. And how could I not enjoy telling you about my close personal friends, excuse me, Desert Financial Credit Union? I just get choked up, man.
Choked up, right.
They've been in my family for so many years.
They
literally.
are family.
Our family for so many years. They've been in the Valley for over 84 years. And to prove to you that they actually focus on solutions that make your life better, I'm just going to cut to the chase. You want $200 for free?
Of course.
Here, Steven. Here's $200.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Noah. Here's $200.
Noah, go ahead and
Thank
add
you.
my 2 to my bet.
Hey, Max, you want $200? Well, then you might as well just sign up with a free checking account online over at desertfinancial.com/200. Once again, get $200 in bonuses when you open a free checking account online. And all you have to do is get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. And tomorrow we will be having our PHNX Green Jacket Open out at Dobson Ranch Golf Course. I think there is still some time if you want to sign up super late, but if you cannot make it out to that, make sure you make it to the Cardinals draft party over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass on April 24th. Join Bo, Johnny, and the entire Cardinals diehard gang. Get a couple drink tickets, get a buffet, get access to the live show, the Upper Deck Bar and Grill. It was a fantastic time last year. Highly recommend you check it out this year, as the Cardinals still, of course, have a first-round pick, and so many exciting things are happening over on PHNX Cardinals. So make sure you check that out at gophnx.com/events.
Hey, Noah, can I borrow your $200 from Desert Financial?
No.
It's for I'm trying to get out of my debt from Bet365.
You know what's crazy?
No.
You know what's crazy is that I think we could all pull together our collective $200 from Desert Financial. And would you be winning?
I would be not winning, but I would be about $100 in the green.
Wow. What could have been?
A man can dream, can he?
A man can dream.
That's okay. I won't have to dream too much after Sunday. So
Well,
we'll see.
from dreams to possibly nightmares. Shout out to Meek Mill. This is Bradley Beal on how he approaches a summer full of trade speculation and, of course, the Phoenix Suns' uncertain future.
I'm always confident in what we have, man. I always told you since the first day you met me, Dwayne, I'm probably the most naive person you will ever meet in the world. You know, I believe in what we got in there. Things happen, man. You know, we didn't have a good year. We couldn't put it together like we wanted, but nobody hates the other man. Nobody dislikes anybody else. Like, I love Phoenix. I love being here. I hope I can continue to be here. But I know Matt he's going to probably make some changes, but I enjoyed this group. It's a fun group to be a part of. The locker room was awesome. The camaraderie was great. And we loved each other. We uplifted each other. You know, so that was a great positive that we had, man. And I think that's what kind of hurts us the most, is that we were a connected team. We were together, and we just couldn't put it together on the floor.
Naive yet hyper aware of the situation.
Yeah.
And all of the dynamics in play that will inevitably be pushed to the table in consideration, if not executed upon, maybe within a week or two, if not certainly within months of the end of the season come Sunday.
I like Beal going, yeah, you know, Matt, he's probably going to make some changes. But I want to be here. Like, that was the most, before he said the Ishbia stuff, the most generic-ass 2K answer I've ever heard in my entire life. You know, I love being here in Phoenix. I love being here in Phoenix. You know, we were a connected team. We're really sad that it didn't work out. It's like, hey, welcome to the athlete school of answering questions without answering them. But, you know, what is he going to do?
Politically correct. You can't say he didn't give you anything, but also did not give you anything.
No. Well, he was also asked more directly on whether he'd want the Suns to run it back with this group.
I have not had any conversations at a price.
Hey, never mind. That's not Bradley Beal. Despite how naive you might be, that was actually Colin Gillespie. We'll get to that here in a second. Do you want the Suns to run it back, Steven? With this same group of guys? What do you think? I'm going to take that as a yes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Some questions just don't have to be asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's definitely at the top of that list right now.
Well, we got
At
Steven's
least if they're
answer.
in the business of trying to win and work towards something.
We got Steven's answer. Let's listen to Brad's.
I'm always confident in what we have, man. I always told you since the first day you met me, Dwayne, I'm probably the most naive person you will ever meet in the world. You know,
It's been a rough one for Noah. I'm going to be completely honest. 81 of 82. He's mailing it in. He might have exported the same video twice. Not going to read Be Calm, See Clearly super chat, but we do appreciate Be Calm, See Clearly for always being here. Do we want to make this super uncomfortable and just stare at Noah until it's ready? Just kidding. I don't like when people do that to me as a producer, but I'm doing it anyway. The cycle continues, but let's hear what Bradley Beal has to say. We got this one? We good? On if he wants the Suns to run it back again next year.
Same way I have all year. It doesn't bother me, man. Everybody's going to have an opinion about something. Everybody's going to, and you're entitled to it, but nobody knows what happens internally. Nobody knows, what we deal with and how we handle things and how we go about, our jobs, and our careers. So we take pride in it. It is disheartening. It is unfortunate. Nobody's probably more pissed off than we are as a team. But we know Matt's he's gonna demand some changes. So we just gotta be ready to hear what he wants to do.
All right, you know what? I know yesterday we spent all day blaming Gerald, and it was obviously a joke. I am going to blame Gerald on this one. He mislabeled the videos. So that first video was Beal about dealing with the summer full trade speculation. And then the video oh my gosh, I'm all turned up. The video we just played was about the summer of speculation. The one before that was about if the Suns should run it back as a group. Can you take away anything from that, Steven, or are you as confused as I am?
I'm as confused as you are. But they need change, and they need change in a hefty way. They can't come back and run this group back with expectations of ducking the play-in for one, making the playoffs for two, and contending for three. This tax bill, even if 1/3 of that big three is removed, you still have a Hall of Fame player and a perennial All-Star. They both were on the Olympic gold medal team that just came from this past summer. There's expectations that come with that, and they have to be meeting those. Matt Ishbia came in not to rebuild, not to retool, to win. And anything that's not in alignment with that is non-negotiable, unacceptable.
Excuse me. We will have sound from Devin Booker here in a second. I promise you, we're going to set that one up real smooth. We're going to set it up real nice. Like we mentioned, we don't know if Book and Beal are going to play against the Kings. Again, it doesn't really matter what happens with the Suns because let's take a look at the standings. It's time for Push for the Playoffs. Presented by All Pro Shade Concepts. Of course, the Suns still have the 11th seed on the outside looking in. Despite a win tonight, they will continue to be on the outside looking in. Steven, from top to bottom in the West, Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Timberwolves, Warriors, Grizzlies, Kings, Mavericks. Of course, the Suns take on the Kings on Sunday.
Question
How do you
for
think
you.
they feel?
Well, question for you first. Who or what matchup are you looking most forward to?
So let's break down the matchup. So it's Thunder against either the Kings or the Mavs. It's the Rockets against either the Warriors or the Grizzlies. It's the Lakers against the Timberwolves, and it's the Nuggets against the Clippers. I think Nuggets-Clippers is extremely exciting. I think that would be a fun blend of styles, especially with Zubats going up against Nikola Jokic. I think I like a lot of these series. Lakers T-Wolves is also extremely interesting from a matchup perspective, considering the Lakers' lack of depth there at the center position, but what JJ's been able to get out of them. But I'll go Nuggets Clippers. I'll go the classic 4-5, but don't sleep on Rockets and either the Warriors or the Grizzlies. If it's Rockets Warriors, I mean, throwing it back to the late 2010s, huh?
And the fact that the Rockets just got the Warriors on, I think it was on Sunday, if not Saturday this past weekend. And the way in which they did that, Steph Curry held to single-digit points. Their leading scorer was Brandon Podziemski. Like, that's for the people that don't believe in the Rockets, that's the template for them. Muddy up games, make it absolutely ugly. And the fact that they can do that with multiple point-of-attack defenders, multiple schemes they can rely on. They have a head coach that can match up with any other coach in the playoff realm, having his team prepared, but also adjusting on the fly and have the counter punches that can break someone's rhythm or just steal a 4 or 5 minute pocket of a game. Going to the double big lineups with Steven Adams and Alfred Şengün. Like these little things that Ime can press in terms of buttons to throw someone else off rhythm and also play a game on their terms because of how well they defend and because of how well they rebound the basketball, both defensively and offensively.
I think that the Nuggets are also going to be kind of slept on considering the fact that they did fire Michael Malone.
Yeah.
And people are going to kind of discount them and write them off. But David Adelman, I believe, undefeated. I forget if he's coached 2 or 3 games, but he's won his last 2 games. And tonight's game for Denver was very impressive in a 117-109 win over the Grizzlies. Aaron Gordon scored 33 points. Nikola Jokic had a triple-double, secured averaging a triple-double for the season with 26, 13, and 16. I do think that Denver will continue to be dangerous without Michael Malone. Do you think it's possible that they're more dangerous than they were before?
I won't say more. You can win off the strength of your players in the regular season, but come playoff time, coaching, the great coaches shine through. The coaches that are maybe uneasy, those things show come playoff time. And I don't think Coach Adelman is going to have an advantage in any capacity in terms of coach against coach. The caveat to him, though, is that he has the best player in any series that he's going to be in.
I think that's the main thing, right?
If Joker is going out and averaging a triple-double on 50, 40, 90, which he is certainly more than capable of, at that point, it's a crapshoot. And if you go to 7, we've seen what he can do if games go to game 7. He can lead you to the finals.
I think usually the talent individually doesn't have enough to overcome, but with Jokic and also with a core that's won a championship together, has gone through multiple playoff battles, a new head coach is a lot less detrimental. So when you have your walking triple-double, the best player in the world, in my opinion, in Nikola Jokic, you have Aaron Gordon, who has developed and evolved his game tremendously over the last couple of years and is such a good player alongside Jokic. Jamal Murray, who is a notorious playoff riser.
The caveat right there, though, because Jamal has not played lately.
No, he's not.
Injury, another ankle injury, and the most recent update we heard did not sound very promising.
He played tonight.
He played tonight?
Yeah, he played tonight.
How much did he play?
15 points in 32 minutes, 5 of 12 from the field, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. He's played, but he's been in and out, and he hasn't had a great season either. I do think he's the ultimate X factor for him.
He definitely is. I know Aaron Gordon gets a lot of X factor attention, but they're at their best when their 2-man game works efficiently and effectively. And if Jamal Murray is not that guy for them, that changes a lot because their shot making and their shot profile shifts almost entirely too much.
Steven in the chat is begging for more likes, and I agree with him. Like goal is 100. I know we're starting a little late, but let's get there. We will play you sound from Devin Booker and about Kevin Durant. Plus, I think we should talk a little bit about Kevin Durant not being there during this home stretch since he's been injured, and if we feel a type of way about that, or if we think that tells the future about his future. But let's do all of that in just a second here. And of course, Gerald will be calling in from PHNX Arena, and we'll get all of that commercial free just after our final break. Like I mentioned, Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass is the place to be on April 24th. That's right, 13 days from today. Join Bo, Johnny, and the Cardinals diehards at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass and the Upper Deck Bar and Grill for an unforgettable NFL Draft party and live show presented by, of course, Gila River Resorts and Casinos and Circle K. Now, I don't know if you've heard about Cam Scattaboo, have you?
Of course, he's a dog.
Do you know he's going #1 overall in the NFL Draft? Did you know that?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And I heard the Ravens are actually trading for the #1 overall pick to draft Cam Scattaboo. And you're going to want to be in the building with Bo, Johnny, and the crew. He's definitely a Ravens player. He's an everything player. Yeah, unfortunately for you, he's also like a Steelers player too. But your $99 ticket to the draft party includes entrance to the Upper Deck Bar and Grill, all-you-can-eat buffet from 5 to 7 p.m., drink tickets for 21 and over guests, raffle tickets for great giveaways, and of course, diehards still get 20% off events. You do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, visit playedgila.com for more details and go to gophnx.com/events to buy your tickets today. We've seen the Suns hit their floor, and if you're trying to redo your floors, make sure you're tapping in with Empire today. And let me cut right to the chase, just like I did earlier in the show. You want $350 off on anything?
Absolutely.
Let alone flooring?
Absolutely.
What if I told you you didn't have to do crap? All you had to do is listen to this show, check.
Easy.
And then you have to go to empiretoday.com/PHNX and use promo code PHNX. You get $350 off, but the best part about using Empire Today is that they have flooring experts who live, breathe, eat, sleep, and bleep flooring. That's all they care about. They're not somebody who doesn't care. They're going to put you in a big box store and you have to do it on your own and pay for it all your own and you don't know what the price point's going to be or how long it's going to take. No. They're going to hold your hand through it all. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. Yep, $350 off with promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHNX for full details. Let's take a listen to Devin Booker, who was asked about what he'll take away from his time playing with Kevin Durant, giving, of course, the uncertain future of 35 this summer.
Devin, future might be uncertain with KD, but what has he meant to you during his time here, and what are you going to, I guess, take from your time playing together with him?
I mean, we still play together, but, it's just been a joy, from my favorite player to teammate. I don't take it lightly, our relationship on and off the court. Learned so much from him, still learn from him day to day, so, we're right here.
I'm glad he said what he said to start it, because Lord knows that would have got spun in ways that it did not need to go. I don't think they're done playing together. I've maintained that stance because I haven't seen any reason from Kevin Durant to say that he doesn't want to be with the Suns, not something that's come directly from him. So I'm expecting those two as of now to be playing next season, and hopefully they improve the context around them. But this season was certainly underwhelming. And It's not necessarily because of those two, but yeah, the context around them was not it.
I mean, I want them to continue to play together. I want them to be on the same team. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I feel as confident as you do in the fact that they will be playing together. I think we have a lot to learn from this playoff run, a lot to learn from all those teams we just looked at in the push for the playoffs, and which one of them has a terrible playoffs and who would look for them. But I like what he said. And I'm also just curious overall thoughts about Kevin Durant not being there, but we can get that in a second, because guess what? It's not just us here on PHNX Suns, and you know that. And for the very last time this season, wow, take it all in. For the very last time in the 2024-25 season, get ready for some girth.
Yes. Beyond the light, there shall only be one. Welcome to
That's right, baby. It's time for From the Home Court, presented by the Carol Royse Team. Your home sold guaranteed realty, where Carol will guarantee to sell your home for 100% of the market value, or she's going to pay you the difference. Learn more at carolroysteam.com. He's here. He's wonderful. He's amazing. He's America's most loved and sensationalist journalist. It's Gerald Bourguet, calling in live from PHNX Arena. Gerald, your final welcome to Girth segment of the season. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling left out. I didn't get the memo on the sunglasses. I don't feel like I belong yet.
Here, you want them?
Gerald, it was on brand. It was random.
Oh, it was random. Okay, we were playing random tonight.
Like 30 seconds before the show, I was like, hey, you want to wear sunglasses? Yeah, who cares? Big case of senioritis on this season, Gerald. But obviously you talked to Devin Booker after the game, Bradley Beal after the game. A big win for the Suns right after getting eliminated from the postseason. What were the general vibes like in the locker room after the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were kind of like the Suns fan base as a whole. It was a good night. It was a fun night, especially for the people that were in attendance for Fan Appreciation Night, but hard to feel too good about anything given where the season is at. It kind of felt like that last class or that last day before summer break where guys are kind of just, they understand what it is. They're ready to get out of here. And no matter how bad the year was, you're kind of already looking forward to the summer. So a lot of interesting tidbits from what was said in post-game comments, but hard to feel too good about a win like this.
Gerald, do you want to dive into a little bit more detail on some of the interesting things that caught your attention from post-game?
Yeah, I mean, I did think it was interesting that not once but twice Bradley Beal mentioned Matt Ishbia's name in his post-game comments about what he's going to be doing this summer and understanding that. I think Beal understands that he still holds that magic card in terms of the no trade clause, but I think he also understands the situation, and as much as he talks about, not paying attention to what people are saying, all the trade speculation, which is why I kind of wanted to ask him about that. I think it does weigh on you at a certain point, And I think he's very much aware that big changes are coming this summer. Another one of the big things that I found interesting was the Devin Booker clip when he was asked about KD, and he was like, I mean, we still play together. We finished it with "we're here." That was interesting to me. I think, a lot of people have been pointing out that Kevin Durant hasn't been on the bench for the last couple of games. Normally, injured players are getting treatment for at least half the game behind the scenes before they join their team on the sidelines, but a lot of people have been calling attention to that. I personally wouldn't read too much into it because I think he's probably just trying to keep a low profile at this point in the season with, them being officially eliminated, but we don't know for sure, and hopefully we will hear from him tomorrow at practice.
Gerald, both the guys that spoke after the game, Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, I'll be honest with you, I was surprised that they played tonight. I know that you probably don't have the answers, but on your Geth's gut feeling, word to Mike Budenholzer, do you feel like this was just a fan appreciation night, saying like, here they play and they shut them down Sunday? Or do you think those two are going to be out there again against the Kings in 2 days?
Yeah, so I do have clarification on that. Devin Booker said he's probably not going to play on Sunday for the regular season finale. I would be surprised if Bradley Beal plays as well. Book was saying, it's a good opportunity for the young guys to get some minutes. It's a good opportunity for the guys who have been working hard behind the scenes, who haven't gotten as many opportunities to get minutes in that one. So I would imagine that Beal probably joins Booker on the bench for that final game. I think for tonight, it was part fan appreciation. It was part, wanting to close the season with pride or whatever. And I think part of it was the fact that if they dropped these last 2 games, there was a possibility that the Spurs and the Blazers would leapfrog them in the standings, at which point the Suns' pick gets potentially more valuable, at which point the Suns have more egg on their face if Houston gets a more valuable pick. So I do think a win tonight was I don't want to say an edict from above, but I think it was important to the organization that they did not go 0-2 in these last 2 games.
I got one last thing for you, Gerald. You've been to a lot of games. You haven't been as a fan in a long time. Have you ever seen them do a giveaway where they give you a little card to redeem at the end to get your bobblehead?
I saw that, and that's just really wild, man. I mean, the jokes write themselves. I don't even want to touch that, to be honest with you. I think it said on the card that they were like, you present the voucher after the game in the plaza and you get your Bradley Beal bobblehead then. But I genuinely think the organization didn't want people to be memeing this Bradley Beal bobblehead throughout the game. So they just waited until it was over so you could redeem your voucher and get it. I don't know, man. That's a tough look.
I think that was a smart bit of business on the promotion side to be preemptive and proactive with not allowing that to happen. I'll round things out with an easy one for you, Gerald. Ryan Dunn had a very, very impactful game. His fingerprints were all over it. How much of tonight's game do you feel is an anomaly, and how much of it do you feel in terms of him peaking out? How much do you feel that this game is something that's kind of repeatable for him?
Yeah, I do think it's something that maybe not to the same degree is repeatable, but it's something that he can build on for sure, especially going into next year. He mentioned at shoot around today when we talked to him that the biggest thing that he's proud of from his growth as a rookie is his confidence as a shooter. He said there have been nights where I've been 0 for 9 and I just kept shooting. And even if they weren't falling, I stuck with it, and I'm proud of that. And I think we saw that tonight. I think he was 4 for 11 from 3. He kept letting them fly, even though all season long he's been, a 30, 31, 32% three-point shooter. And I think that for him is something that he can build on. He mentioned the one thing he wants to improve the most this summer is his jumper being more consistent. And I think he's got a good foundation for that. I think this was a good year for him confidence-wise, because heading into the year, we would have never predicted that he would have shot as well as he did or as many threes as he did. So that's encouraging to me. And, Book kind of highlighted the fact that he already works really hard, but he's also putting in the work. He's gaining that confidence. And when you pair all those things together, you can have nights like this. So I do think this was obviously an outlier given, fan appreciation night, how little some of the other guys were playing, the state of the Spurs right now. But, this was something that was long overdue. And maybe we would have seen this earlier in the year had he not been benched for a month and a half.
Huh, maybe if only we talked about that at all over the last couple of months. Well, Gerald, I'll give you the floor. Your final message from the arena for this season. Of course, you'll be with us on Sunday to end this season in style. But your final welcome to Geth message to the PHNX Suns fans.
Yes. So real quick before I do that, I did ask Mike Budenholzer why Bol didn't check in when there were "We Want Bol" chants. And he basically said that they had cut it to like 22 or 20 or 18. So he wanted to stick with Royce the vet. So I genuinely don't know what was going on behind the scenes. He was set to check in and then he wasn't. Out of the timeout, it was kind of awkward and he kind of ducked the question a little bit. But my final message to all of you, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not going to lie to you, given the state of Twitter and our world and just this Suns season, this has been one of the harder Suns seasons that I've ever had to cover. There are a lot of negative and toxic interactions when you talk about this team, when you deal with this team. We've seen it all season long, and at times it was very discouraging because I'm someone that feels very blessed to cover this sport and always loves covering it. And as the objective person, I'm not as impacted by their wins and losses as a lot of you guys are, but there were also a lot of positive interactions here at the arena, out in the world when I would have people come up to me and say that they loved our work, that they love our show, that they appreciate what we do. And we would not be able to do what we do without all of you guys. And just to let you know, your support in the chat, on Twitter, here in our YouTube show, it means the world to me. I know it means the world to Eric and Steven as well, because we wouldn't be able to have this and say this is our job without you guys. So I know this season has really sucked. I hope next season is a lot better. We're going to have a lot of shows over the off season to cover all of that as well. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much, because I truly do love this job, even as bad as the season can be. And you guys, the positive interactions, they are what keep me going and make it that much better. So thank you to all of you.
The chat's letting you know just how much they love you, Gerald. And for now, the second game in a row, it feels like the last game, but that's just not the case. We still have Sunday at 12:30. The three of us will be in studio together, ending this season in style. But until then, you can follow Gerald.
Gerald, yeah, we'll do shades on Sunday too. So make sure you come ready to rock.
Bring your sunglasses on Sunday.
No random,
Gerald.
no random. This is very much the game plan.
Yeah. We're showing up and we're being better on Sunday. You can follow Gerald until then at Gerald Bourget on socials. Get home safe, Gerald, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
I second everything that Gerald said. I'll give my mushy gushy goodbye to everybody on Sunday. So until then, everybody take care. Have a very safe Friday night. We do have a super chat to end it in a fitting way with Be Calm, See Clearly.
Be calm, see clearly. $2 super chat. Noah, I love you. Heart emoji. I wish you well and no cheating. Heart, heart.
Don't skip the
straight face.
Rock's eyebrow emoji.
Dead serious about the no cheating part. No,
I'll
keep an eye on him. Be calm. Donzel, don't you worry. I will keep an eye on young Noah behind the Mac, making all the magic happen. We appreciate him for all his great work this season. Of course, you can follow us at PHNX_Suns on Twitter and on Instagram. And of course, you can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That is Steven with a PH. Rocking the shades. Looking damn cool. And you can follow me at ERIKRUBY. One more time. We'll get through this together. And then it's 3 months of toxic trade talk, baby. We'll see you on Sunday.
We all silly like the mayor.